I think it worked on the first try tonight, Joe. Actually, I don't think it worked on the first try tonight. I know it worked on the first try.
And there's music playing, right?
There's music playing. The timer is going. But for the sake of thoroughness, I forgot my volume. We're live. We're live, folks.
We're live.
And this is the Pre-Scalp, Joe. The Pre-Scalp for show 14. What you know? How's your week going? Are you tired? I'm tired.
I'm tired. We'll get into my last 24 hours, what it's been. I swear, man, it's always something. Like literally, like I tell people all the time, like you just like it's always something always pops up, and it's like at the worst time, and but it's just one of those things. What's up, Pat?
What's
boy
up,
Pat? In the chat early tonight.
Man, I love this. Everybody just like jumping in the chat, like straight out the gate.
Yeah, and if you're watching, like I'm like one of those people that do watch like live streams, and sometimes I'll comment and sometimes I won't. But like if you're watching tonight, don't be afraid. Drop a comment in the live stream. Don't be afraid. We're two friendly guys.
Are we?
So
are we, Joe?
For the most part.
Are we? I mean, I would say so. Man, I don't want to get into this. What's up, Will? I don't want to get into this like during the show. A little tiptoe.
Hopefully the community assembles tonight.
The community, but I don't want to. What's up, man? Hey, I don't want to get into this during the show, but you would. I had just. For me, it's fun. I don't suppose it's fun for the person on the other end, but you would not believe the back and forest. The back and forest. Have you heard of that forest before? Back and forest. The back and forth that I went through this morning with some dude in a comment section. I told Joe that perhaps it's time we just do stupid comments that we come across here on YouTube, and we just include that as a segment on the show on Tuesday nights, because it never ceases to amaze me what kind of conversation I find myself in with folks on the internet.
Brody Odie, where are you from? Good afternoon, man. It's a little late here. Are you? Is it? It must be maybe out west somewhere.
Oh my gosh, Will, you're so close, but it was on. If you want to see the chat between us in the comment section, remember the video I did last fall that was like real doctors don't prescribe super juice in the thumbnail? Oh my gosh.
I think that's what started it all for me. The whole hate on maybe not that video particularly, but I think that really elevated your YouTube game in the hatred on some people. But.
I mean, this guy, his panties got so far up his booty crack this morning, I think they were starting to come out the top of his head. It was like, for me, it was funny. I mean, the fact that people get this upset and they're feeling so distraught and destroyed over a YouTube video.
Mike, anything with a super and juice in the title, I do not recommend you buy.
Well, you know what the whole guy's premise to his argument was on me? That I can't beat Doc on YouTube, so I have to resort to like making fun of him or putting down his channel and his products and all this stuff. I'm like, what makes people think that just because we make YouTube videos, we're trying to compete with him, one, or two, do this for a living? I do this for fun. I have a job.
And if people actually realized how much you make from a video or how much you make, like, it's really not a lot of money when it comes down to it. I do.
It's not. And I do this with no Instagram, no TikTok, no Twitter, no website, no products. This is all just like freaking off of YouTube.
I know.
I do it for fun. It is not a job.
More kudos to you for not having all that, not having to go out there and make stupid videos of, digging up your yard and putting green in your lawn.
Arturo, you are not kidding, man. People get their feelings hurt over absolutely nothing, but our feelings are not hurt that you are here. And guess what, Joe? It is time to go, my friends. Welcome, my friends. This is another Tuesday evening. We're here every Tuesday evening, 9 o'clock Eastern time, 8 o'clock Central. We don't know where you're at. Maybe it's afternoon for you. Maybe it's evening like it is for us here. Maybe it's night, Joe. It's kind of nighttime for you, right? You're
kind 9 o'clock, dark outside.
Yeah, we've still got a hint of daylight on the horizon, but for the most part, this day is coming to a close. Thanks for joining us here on the Budget Wooder Show. Again, we hope you'll hop in with us every Tuesday night, 9 o'clock Eastern time, 8 Central. If this is your first time here, thank you. We hope it's not your last. And for those of you that we know it's not your first time, we can't tell you enough how much we appreciate your continued support of this silly little show once a week. We do ask all of you that you give us that thumbs up, leave a chat in the comment section, comment when the video's reposted, all that jazz helps out the stream and will help grow it to some more people. Joe, what do you say off the top of this show this evening?
Well, like we start off every show, right? Talking about today. Let's talk about our little today in history. Actually, our today in history has a little video involved. It's actually my house. Let's
roll with it. Let's roll with it. Hit me with some history, Joe. Let me get this queued up. And 3, 2, 1.
So back in 1986, if you know this song, you know the movie, the action blockbuster Top Gun was released in American theaters, and it made Tom Cruise. He's actually from New Jersey. He made him an international star, and this is my house. This past Christmas time, I did LED pixel lights. All these lights are still up on my house except for the star, the snowflake, and the 3 arches. My neighbors probably hate me, but I love this. So last year I got into the whole, it's called X Lights. It's a program that you can computerize the songs to, and you have to do different designs and things. And obviously the Top Gun theme song, not the Danger Zone. I guess you could call this the theme zone.
How else does anybody know that song?
Yeah. So this was one of the songs that I did throughout. I had like a 5 or 6 song sequence, and one night out of the, I think it was like December 20th or something, I had a speaker out front blasting the music for this, Blinding Lights, Christmas Vacation, The Grinch. There was this, Danger Zone was one. The Philly song from the World Series, Dancing on My Own. That was a big song for obviously our area. I did a sequence to that. So one night I had the speaker outside. It was blasting the songs. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I put it up on Facebook. I had like a good 30, 40 people drive by my house, pull up, put down their window, check out the lights. And so next year I'm going to hopefully get maybe an FM transmitter so people can listen to it through the radio. But yeah, I had a lot of fun last year with these lights.
I think I've had to come to your defense in one of your videos, Joe, where I saw somebody's always got some jerkish thing to say in the comment section, but somebody was making fun of you in a video for still having your Christmas lights up.
Yeah.
But these are becoming much more popular, aren't they, Joe?
Yeah. Well, we can get to it in another, when it gets more relevant, maybe in the fall time. But the whole thing is these lights can stay up year round. You change the colors. For like the Eagles during the Super Bowl, I had like a green theme going. So every night they're on. And like at 10 o'clock, I have them all go to white. So they're more of like a security feature or like a warm white. It looks just really cool. I have like an American flag theme that I have that goes every night.
Hey, Joe,
I've always been a light person. So, this is like right up my alley.
While we're on it, let's just go from our history lesson into a little lesson on your setup, because we've been meaning to get to this for a couple weeks now, and I don't want to leave Joe hanging on this because we've kind of run over on some other stuff. But what better time than now? Because I would imagine some of you folks out there might be interested in this type of deal, because they're becoming a lot more popular for folks to get these installed on their homes.
Yeah, so I just use J Channel A lot of people, if you're familiar with siding, J channels like at the corner where your siding goes in, it has a J channel that goes down, and you can get this at Home Depot by I forget, it's like 8 foot or 12 foot. And my work, we have a machine shop, so the guys were able to make me a template out of aluminum, out of a scrap piece of aluminum, because you have to space the pixel lights. That's what they're called. They're WS2811 LED pixel lights in that right hand corner there, and then they're connected to this controller up there. It's called a Dig Quad controller, so you can have four different things, different power from this controller. It's kind of a little complicated, but
Joe,
so
I didn't
there's
realize you were such a little tech nerd here.
yeah, not super. It's LED. It's LED lights, so it's actually really low voltage. It's only 12 volts, so it's really not a ton of voltage. My power supply is only like 30 amps. It's a really, believe it or not, it's a very low power. Um, but yeah, so they're spaced out 2 inches apart, and I have them going around my windows, as you can see, the garage, around my front door. And for every year, I would always put up lights. Christmas is always my time. I put up a ton of the mini lights. I have the big LED C9 bulbs that I would put up,
Not
and
anymore.
and then I've been seeing more and more this permanent light LED lighting getting more and more popular. So I was like, you know what? I'll bite the bullet, give this a try, and I love it. I just absolutely love it, and it's all controlled by an app. It's called WLED. It's an app. It's right on your phone. You can actually control it on your computer. I could bring it right here up on my computer right now. I can change a preset. You have all these different presets, all these different effects that you can use, like a chase, a twinkle, uh, flashing lights. I could do like a lighthouse where it like goes like this, like a lighthouse kind of goes around. There's a police one on there, so it goes like red and green. It goes real fast. It's
That's
so
cool.
awesome, this app, and it's free. The best part about this thing, it was free. The app, and the people that work on it constantly try to do updates and different things to it. It's really cool.
That's
It's a
awesome.
lot of fun.
That's awesome. Well,
And my kids love it. I love getting the compliments from the neighbors. I love seeing kids when they see, like lights. When I was a kid, my uncle, he has a big, huge display of Christmas lights every year. And it's just the joy of seeing kids with, seeing the lights. And my next door neighbor, they have a young grandson. He looked at the lights and they just love it. So
that,
I
that
enjoy it.
that's funny because that's how I got into Christmas lights. Was my aunt and uncle put up a huge display when I was a kid, and I always said I would do it when I got older. And here I am. But you find out that the reason why you do it. I enjoy doing it. I love the process and the creativity of putting them up. But it's really watching the kids run
Oh
outside
yeah.
to see them for the first time. Not to mention, one time at my old house, we were driving by. My little girl, she just didn't cross her mind that she was looking at her house, and she just started screaming like, "Oh my gosh, look at that house!" And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Mila, that's your house." And she was like, "No
Yeah,
way!"
that's
So
awesome.
it's so cool. Hey, I want to answer one question real fast. We got to get to our sponsor, Joe.
Yeah.
Malcolm has a question. Hey, a summer pre-emergent. I said I was going to do another one sometime in May or June. I was a little late getting my spring one down. You know what? The breakthrough for me has not been too terribly bad. It's certainly not going to hurt, especially if you're seeing a good amount of breakthrough. As I always say, it's really never too late to get a pre-emergent down. It's probably not going to stop as much as you would hope, but it'll at least stop some. So if you haven't gotten a pre-emergent down yet, go ahead and rock and roll with it. But I'm actually going to skip my late spring, early summer app and just keep rocking and rolling and spot treat any weeds that I do see break through. But if you haven't gotten anything down, sure enough, yeah, I probably want to get something in the soil to block as many weeds from coming up as possible. Hey, Joe, when you're doing those lights and you accomplish something that successful and so cool, like whether it be in the yard or Christmas lights or any project around the house, and imagine you're like me. There's one thing. Hey, Rob, my man. Look at
Congrats,
that,
Rob.
Joe. Congratulations, Rob. What are you? Hey, I'm never going to complain if someone's here, but we're not going to fault you if you don't stick around for tonight's show. Hey, maybe the baby's sleeping, maybe you need a breakaway, but congratulations, my friend. That
Yeah.
is freaking awesome. A baby boy. Congratulations. Proud for you, man. That is sweet. Sweet. Hey, Hey, Rob, you probably need one of these right about now, Joe. I bet you he needs. I bet you he needs
Yeah,
more than one of
he needs a
these.
he needs a few.
But anytime you accomplish something, a project around the house, nothing caps it off quite like a cold one. And tonight, our sponsor is one that has not been in the headlines and one you've probably never heard of before. And you might want to just pop a top on one of these, right, Joe?
This is by Bond. James Bond.
God.
This is 007 approved.
This is my favorite part.
This is the lawn mower lager. It's they brew this right in downtown London. Apparently King Charles is a big fan of this. But yeah, Daniel Craig here. He's our sponsor for tonight. He's the official sponsor of the lawnmower, and of course it's James Bond approved.
Joe, I've seen me in this picture. I don't know if someone else has, but my favorite part of all these different sponsors that you come up with is you trying to impersonate their voices. That has to be what makes them so great. Hey, do you think the King had one of those after somebody mowed that large phallic symbol at his celebration? Joe, is your camera flickering?
Yeah, it's
Joe,
flickering.
don't
Should I turn it off for a second?
No, just let it go. Just see if it
right. That's what I get.
No,
that's what I get. That's what I get for touching it.
Okay, don't touch it.
You're
that's
good.
What
she said.
Don't touch it. Do you think the King had one of those after he saw the big member that was mowed in the celebration?
He probably had. What did they drink? Like was it a mead or something they drink, or a wine or whatever they drink?
I don't know.
He had a nice pint of something. That's for sure.
I've got friends that they're huge.
I'm telling you, I the best freaking meal I had was at a freaking pub underneath our flat in London. It was fish and chips. We had a pint of this like lager beer, this local beer in London, and it was the best. And that's probably what he had.
I've got friends that refuse to
cook by like about a million chefs, probably, but you know.
I've got friends that are huge Guinness fans and those really dark, heavy beers. They want them so heavy that one of our buddies says, "I want it so heavy, I gotta chew it." And I don't know, man. I like me a heavier beer that's more flavorful and not just the water that all the light beers are these days. So, but I can't do something that heavy. Hey, we want to keep this show moving down the tracks tonight. So real quickly, we've got lots of good lawn stuff. Joe has some, you already can imagine, not one tonight, but two really killer hot takes tonight. And Joe's kind of had a little rough go at it here lately. Is rough an understatement, Joe? Have you been
I've lost some sleep lately. Let's just say that.
I need some more sleep. I haven't lost some sleep, but it's the end of the school year for me, and I am telling you, dude, this time of year in education just sucks the energy out of you.
I can't imagine. But my kid's in kindergarten this year, and he's like done. This is his first full year in school, and he's just like, I don't want to finish the year, but we're like, look, you got a couple weeks left, just like suck it up. At least I'm the tough love guy when it comes to the parenting. Yeah,
that's me. Yeah. Well, the one thing that does kind of give me a little bit of energy is every day I get off work and it's getting time to head home. I always know that I got something pretty exciting to get home to and check out the updates on the front lawn. If you've been following along, we've been giving updates every single week. We're not going to spend as much time on it today, but things are still moving, but might get slowed down just a pinch. We have to order some more block. This thing kind of grew some legs, and the amount of block that was ordered in the beginning has turned out to not be enough. So we've got some more on order. So they've been kind of picking away at some of the other things that need to be done instead of wall building, kind of cleaning some stuff up, starting to get an idea of what the front yard grade might look like. You can see the flower bed space between the two walls. Now that space has been kind of cleaned up with some fresh topsoil in there. So you get a little bit of an idea of what it's going to look like when it's not so much of a construction site. And this is the one that kind of has me excited because if you saw this front lawn before this project got underway, it was nothing but a hill. And now this is what my front lawn is going to look like. Now, you might remember that up closer to the house, there was more grass up there and a sidewalk that was at like a 45-degree angle. And that whole sidewalk has been ripped out. The grass has been ripped out to make way for some flower bed space. And that's going to be the front lawn. So instead of having a hill, I'm going to have a relatively, I hate to use the word flat, but for the most part, comparatively speaking, it's going to be a flat lawn. And here's the other side on the right side of the driveway. I know you've only seen just a little bit of the update on this, but that's where we're kind of in a holding pattern, waiting on some more block. But they did get that second wall started back behind the front one, and we're starting to work our way back the property line towards the fence. That will all be the wall as well. So I'm going to go from, Joe, frankly, a lawn that I was really kind of discouraged about and really didn't have the guts to tell my wife for a long time that, yeah, I love the house, but the lawn did not turn out. I knew it was going to be bad, but not that bad. Let's just say that. I think some things could have been done on the construction side in the beginning to not have such a slope, but for whatever reason, the builder and his landscapers did it the way they did to get out of here, and us moved in, and now I'm left kind of fixing it. But in the end, I think it's going to turn out to be a huge blessing, and I'm going to get it the way I want it. So that's the most important thing.
Yeah, speaking of a slope, me and my wife, we were actually looking at property in like the Poconos area by me this past, was it this past winter or maybe would have been the previous winter, and there was this property. Talk about a slope. I mean, it was steep, and we had this like thing like, oh, well, we'll be able to build on it. We could build on it, and the property had been sitting there for months and probably over a year, and it had like a nice little stream at the end. It had a really nice view of like a Christmas tree farm in the distance and up the mountains. And yeah, I was like, nah, I'm not like we're like this would be like a future like investment for us when we got older. We could build on it kind of and like live
Because
there.
you're going to have to spend more money on a property
Yeah,
that's
that
sloped
and then
like
like
that.
I'm like I don't think a 60-year-old or 50-year-old myself wouldn't be going
Yeah.
up. I would need like an elevator or an escalator going up and
That's
down
what
the
I've told
slope.
my wife. When we get old, if we're still here,
I mean,
this.
one of those chairlift things, that go up.
Yeah, yeah. When we get older, this driveway's gonna just get even more challenging. But for now, we're not looking that far ahead. We've just kind of got to,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
just going one day at a time. Hey, I'm seeing a topic in the chat, Joe, that is really a good topic, and it's couldn't be more true. It has been a rough year for warm season grass. We kind of hit on it last week, just about lots of folks, especially down here in the South, suffering from tremendous winter kill. We had a really cool, dry start to the spring. Since then, we've kind of hit a stretch of warm temperatures and a lot of rain, and I did get some fertilizer down this past weekend, Joe. I mean, things are greening up fast now. Rain has moved out, at least for the next couple days, but it has just been a dismal year to see the warm season really kick off and start running. I haven't really seen many folks at all that are really proud of what they've got. I mean, maybe further down south, but for a lot of us here in the transition zone or upper
Maybe
part of the South, it's not good.
maybe that's why they're putting in Green, or they got sponsored for it
Yeah,
too.
I don't know. That's
They
a
got to
big.
fix those lawns.
That's a big. Are you taking jabs, Joe? You know those are my friends right
Just a
down the
little
street.
bit.
They're my friends
Yeah,
right down the street.
it doesn't mean anything.
I
Pat's,
know.
hey,
That's the
Pat's
fun of the community.
That's yeah, exactly. That's the topic tonight is the community. I
The-
mean, Pat is technically my neighbor, And
And you and him
maybe
give each other hell
and we give each
24/7.
other hell. But hey, maybe we'll meet up this summer and I'll cut his lawn. We'll see.
Speaking of giving each other hell, I talked about this last night. Bill and I have given each other hell in the comments before, and oddly enough, we're still friends at the end of the day. How can that be that we can disagree? Most people you're
It's
tiptoeing
chat.
around, but where the heck is
Chat,
Bill?
chat Vol. It's not who we're talking about, but someone more closer to Travis.
Yeah,
That's all
he's
I'll talk
actually
about.
he's a friend of mine. Lives 25 minutes down the street. You don't hear me ever say anything about them. But where's Bill? Where is
Yeah,
Bill
I don't
tonight?
know. I'm a little concerned because Bill is usually in the chat. So
Last week it was Pat that was out there kind of creeping around
he was
just a little
he was
bit,
a
and
yeah he
little
was a creeper last week.
little did we know he was had the blinds open like this. He was peeking in on the show and the conversation, but just was waiting on the opportunity to pounce. Hey, Joe, been a disaster of a warm season, uh, grass spring, and it's been kind of a disaster in a couple places around your yard. Should we talk about one that kind of has you a little bit underwater? You know what I'm saying,
Not
Joe?
under water.
Underwooder, I should say. Joe, what is
Yeah,
going
you got it.
on?
Last Friday I took off. I mulched my yard and I power washed all my sidewalk around my house, and there was this one patch along the curb line where I was like stepping on it and I was like going up and down. Like it was like,
Like a
like a
little
water bed
sponge, like a
almost.
little.
Like a water bed.
Oh, oh my gosh, that just doesn't sound right. A
Anyway,
wooder
a
bed.
water bed.
Oh my.
A
Okay,
water
that's
bed.
better. Okay.
So I thought I have a sprinkler line that runs like right along here. And I was like, yeah, it might be a leak from there. So I didn't think anything of it. Day goes by. I go out what's today? Tuesday. So I went out last night, started digging around, and it wasn't the sprinkler line. And I saw my main shutoff, which is that little tube on the right hand side there, on the right picture, the tube at the top. That's the main shutoff
Are
where you
you
put
trying
the
to
like your
drown me down below, Joe? You trying to drown me? Is that what's happening?
yeah. So I got to shout out to my wife. She dug this hole. She literally dug the hole on the right hand side. The whole thing. It's 2.5 feet down to where the water line goes to our house. I started to dig the sod around the area and dug a little bit to get down to that sprinkler line that's across there, and we realized it wasn't the sprinkler line. So the water company came out today. They shut off the main to our house, and that's when we realized it was a main water line leak. So we had a company come out. We weren't expecting anybody to fix it today, and our water pressure surprisingly in our house was still really great. I don't know how,
So
but
that might have just been a really small leak that just kept building up
no,
over
it was
time.
once they dug it out, there must have been enough pressure from the dirt on top of this leak to hold that tight, because that crack was like, it was a decent sized crack in this
Oh
line.
man.
And but shout out
Probably
to
from
sh-
winter thaw and freeze, or do they have any?
so there was like, so there's like a little bit of a bent when it comes out of the actual shut off valve that go, and it goes to, it's a poly tube that goes to our house. It's a 3/4 inch line that goes to our house. And the guy said in the last couple years they've seen more and more over the wintertime. Our house is almost like 40, almost probably 50 years old at this point. So that tube's been in the ground for a long time. And it just
Just
happened
gave
to go.
way.
And it just sucks. I mean, it's always something, it's like I was just like thinking it was going to cost us like 8 to 10 grand. I mean, it would have cost us 8 to 10 grand to fix, like get a whole new line. Luckily, it only cost us $1,000 to get this fixed, which is still a lot of
And that's
money.
not something that the city will let you even fix, will
No,
they?
so you are responsible from that tube there, from your shut off for your at your curb to your house, which is, in my opinion, complete bullshit. Because when you here's my first hot take for the night, because like Comcast, or horrible con I should call it Comcast. If their line goes, or they're responsible for the line going to your house.
Hmm.
Something go, if you cut it or something, they'll come out and they'll fix it, no problem. but if it's the water, the gas, or something like that, you're responsible for it. And it's like, what do we pay these fucking taxes for? I mean, for this guy to come out with his, like nice little dreadlocks. Not, he didn't have dreadlocks hair. He was like almost like hippie-ish hair, and he had to shut off the water valve for us. And I'm like, he's like, oh, yeah, looks like it's the main water line. Yeah, no, well, it's on you to fix it. Yeah, no shit. Thank you very much, sir.
Hey, Joe. Hey, what's up, Brett? Brett says Comcast. Finally, something Joe and I don't think he said finally. Something me and Joe can agree on. Hey.
Yeah, my service, Comcast is fucking horrible.
Did you?
And they're located, their corporate headquarters is in Philly. So, and I actually interviewed there years ago. It was just, it's so corporate there. It's ridiculous.
Did you see, Joe? Did you see Pat's latest comment? Not his latest one, the one above his latest one. So he was lying to us last week, Joe. Now I'm never gonna know when to believe Pat or not. He was lying. Remember last week he said he was here the whole time. Now he says I was actually late. LOL. Yeah, must be those real Philly guys. That's how the real Philly guys act, right?
That's strike one tonight, Pat. Strike three, we kick you out. No, I'm kidding.
Hey, Joe, since
it's all patched up, it's fixed. And so
that's all that matters.
I lost a lot of sleep. I lost a lot of sleep last night over this, and so it's all good.
Well, before we get to the bad thing that happened in your most recent project out in the lawn, why don't we talk about the good side of the project to kind of take a little bit of the sting off of the water problem or water problem? What'd you do back here, Joe? The pool looks like it's really getting ready for the season.
Yeah, so got it all mulched up. Like I said, I took off last Friday. Actually, I took off Friday, but I did the mulch on Thursday night. I got 4 yards of mulch from my local Peach Country. If friggin' Super TA was here, he would know who Peach Country is.
Were you out there with a headlamp on and all that stuff?
I was.
Good gosh, dude.
On.
What's up?
I was out till 10:30 at night, and I was scraping the shovel and the cement. And I know my neighbors were probably like, "What? Go to fucking bed, Joe."
I don't want to like. I can only imagine what some of your neighbors' names are. I don't want to stereotype, but I'm not down here. It's probably like Jim Bob and Betty Sue and all that kind of stuff. I don't know what your neighbors are, but I can just imagine your neighbors next door going, "Oh, honey, there's Joe again. He's out there scraping the driveway with his shovel." They're probably in there wondering what in the hell you're doing at least 6 nights a week.
My neighborhood, this is really going to sound sad, but my neighborhood is a little bit depressing. There's like 4 neighbors that are widows. They're all women that are widows, and I'm like, am I next? Like it's like kind of crazy that like all these guys.
So
I know it's
so what you're saying is you don't need to be out in the front yard working without a shirt on.
Yeah. So. But anyway, got the mulch. Moving on. I got the mulch down. It's a triple shredded mulch. It's no color because the kids, they love the walk. Like we got this beautiful, nice concrete now from the pool renovation we did last fall. But the kids just love the friggin' still walk through the friggin' mulch.
And then it's in the pool.
And it's not that. It's when you get that dye mulch, the dyed stuff, it's brown, black, or red. It gets on the shoes and then it gets on the concrete and then you got to wash it off. So I try not to get any dyed mulch. I just got a nice triple shredded brown mulch. We didn't mulch last summer, I don't think. So this was like, it's due around the pool area. But I got it done. That's the main thing. Looks good. It looks finished. And our backyard's pretty much ready to go now, other than, just hopefully this water temperature can get a little bit warmer.
Well, it looks good, dude. I know that's what always feels good. And I've talked about this in some of my videos here on Budget Lawns. Folks, if you're not subscribed to Joe's channel already, we do this live stream here on Budget Lawns. But if you're not subscribed to Waterboy Productions, go give Joe a sub, show him support over there as well. And again, thumbs up the video here, the live stream, comment, chat. Y'all are doing awesome. Look, we appreciate y'all being here. But I talk about in some of my videos where over the winter time, it could kind of get discouraging for folks in lawn care because your lawn really, for lack of a better way to put it, looks like complete dog crap. I mean, when the leaves fall and I mean, everything just looks.
Glittering for the widows. I love that.
It just looks like crap. So it's kind of hard for some folks who hate to see it go downhill so badly in the wintertime.
Brett, I do love rock, but like my whole thing with rock is once you put rock down, my parents love rock. They had river rock everywhere you can imagine. But once you put that rock down, especially like 1 to 2 inch size or 3 inch size river rock,
you ain't getting rid of it.
You ain't getting rid of it.
You're married to it.
It's you're not picking that up. We were like, there was a little bit of probably child labor laws, like, that were, when I was a kid, that my parents could have probably gotten in trouble. Like, we literally were picking up these river rocks.
What was your dad's name, Joe?
His name's Joe too.
Oh yeah, Joe's got the kids out there working their asses off.
We're picking up this river rock, throwing it in the wheelbarrow, wheeling it out back, and it was just ton after ton.
I see a rock versus mulch argument brewing in the comment section. Wouldn't that be great to see Pat and Brett going after it? Would you guys put on some boxing gloves for us and show us how? Well, Brett, you're a Southern guy now, but Utah versus Philadelphia, Pennsylvania goes after each other. But
that would be hilarious.
So, the last thing I want to say, Joe, about your pool, doesn't it just feel good to get that done? Because it really does. Everything goes to crap over the wintertime, and just getting that done in the spring, it's like, now I just get to go through the motions all summer and tinker around here and there.
Next week I'll have a before and after, because we're just like we're really stoked. We're really proud of ourselves with the concrete that got done. It just really finally feels like a completed backyard. And we got a couple different areas that we have for seating now that we didn't have before. And we're just really, I work every day. My kids and my wife will be home all summer while I'm at the office, but it's just, I'm happy that they'll be able to really enjoy it this year.
Well, no, it looks great. Y'all should be proud of that. When you put in that work and you make the decision to go forward with a project like that, it always feels good. Hey, Brett, here's my thing about mulch. I will say this. Hey, now, Travis, you were Georgia. You were born in Georgia. Okay. Maybe we've got a lot more in common than we ever originally thought. Georgia, Arkansas, much closer ties than Georgia or Arkansas, Utah. Very cool. I didn't know you were a Southern boy at heart, or not at heart, at blood.
Speaking of rock, my dad almost wanted me to fly down to South Carolina last summer and help him with rock down there.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
Dad,
no.
That's a big no. Hey, but I will say this, Brett, when it comes to the mulch, here's what I found. If you get you a good thick layer of mulch, that stuff starts to break down over time. But if you have a good thick layer, each year or every other year, I just come in and kind of skim off the very top. Once it's gotten a little bit too thick, you just skim off the very top and just put a fresh new light layer down around your plants or perennials or whatever it is.
And I don't do thick. I do like an inch at most in most areas.
I'm at 2 to 3.
2 to 3. So maybe
as a base layer, and then skim off a little bit each year, and then just put like another ½ inch down every year just to freshen it back up. And once you've got your ground covers and perennials like I do, once they're all grown in, you're just patching up the visible spots, because most of the mulch you can't even see it.
So speaking of neighbors, this kind of leads.
Yeah,
into
you're
the next
right about
topic.
that. It does not break down.
I'm out. So speaking of neighbors, right? So this will lead into the next topic. I'm shoveling. I use a pitchfork to do my mulch. Doing my thing.
I would love to see Joe out.
My neighbor's got to walk. My neighbor's got to walk by and goes, "Man, you're doing it the hard way." And I'm going, "No, I'm not. I'm really not doing it the hard way." And he's like, I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "You should be using bags." I'm like,
"No, that's
no."
And
he just went on his merry way with his wife and his boy, and
So in the comments or in the chat, I hate saying comments, chat. In the chat, tell us, are you team bulk or team bag? And our resident accountant here on the Budget Wooder Show. I'm glad you're so good at math, Joe, because I don't like breaking these kinds of things down. From the looks of it, I'm no mathematician, but it looks like you do get a better deal if you go the bulk route.
Yeah, I mean, you're only saving, maybe 30 something dollars, but
You're not
give or
going to
take,
get rich off of it.
give or take, some, tax depending on how you're buying it. Um, but like for me, 54 bags, like that's just like when I hear people with the bags thing. So what I did was is I went on the Home Depot's website, used their calculator just to figure out how many bags I would need for the area that I was doing. As I was doing about 1,000 square feet. My bulk guy, it's 4 yards for I. So there's a calculator, you can put in the square feet, figure out how much inch in depth that you need. So about 4 cubic yards equals about 108 cubic feet. And that's how I kind of that's how I was figuring out the Home Depot calculator there. And but like 54 bags, like I just can't imagine like carrying that many bags or throwing them in my gorilla cart and trucking them all the way from the front of my house. I mean, I would have to probably either get it delivered on pallets or make multiple trips to Home Depot.
So you have to put a value on the time that it takes to do
Yeah,
all
I
that,
mean,
as opposed to
as
paying
opposed
a
to just
little
getting it
delivery fee.
dumped. Yeah,
And
so it used to be, which I was a little pissed about the delivery fee because I remember it being only $25. Now it's inflation and Biden inflation. It's up to $50 now.
so I'm looking at your
You know,
prices, Joe. Here locally, I checked the prices from the place just right down the street from me for a yard of hardwood mulch, $25, delivery fee 50. So prices there are right on par with what they are here. But the having to go into Home Depot or Lowe's and imagine walking up to the person there if they've only got like 20 out. Yeah, hey, I need 34 more of those guys, okay?
Can you hold them for me? I love that. Can you hold that for me?
Yeah, we'll hold our whole stock. I mean, they're stocking so much of that. Now, here's the cool thing. There is actually a bulk supply place that's right back around my house. And last year I went, when I was doing the project in the backyard, I needed about 3 yards of mulch. And they have a big bucket truck that holds 3 yards in the bucket. And the guy was like, so where do you live? I was like I'm literally the street on the other side of that fence. He was like, dude, just hop in your truck. I'll follow you over there and I'll just dump it in your front yard.
That's pretty cool.
He literally drove the bucket truck down one side road into my neighborhood, down my street, asked me where I wanted it, dumped the thing. We said, see you later, man. Appreciate you very much. And he drove back to work.
I mean,
and that's awesome.
The time wise too is a big thing. I mean, like I started at probably like, I don't know, 6:30, 7 o'clock. I was done about probably 10.
You're
which
crazy,
is really
man.
Yeah. I'm a night person. So like I could be up till like 12, 1 o'clock doing something in the garage with the laser or whatever. And, just, I don't know. I don't know. I like it. I enjoy, like my dad did a lot of mulch jobs. I mean, we did like 20, 30-yard mulch jobs. And I remember one time we did like a 30-yard mulch job. We did it in 2 hours. There was three of us. And I'm a slave driver, like, and I know that's probably the wrong way of putting it, but like I just like get these guys moving and like the rain. A rainstorm was coming, and I'm just like, look, we got to get going. We got to move. And we just had like a nice flow going with the mulch. I don't know. I don't mind using a pitchfork or the flat shovel and just scooping it up, taking my time. And the gorilla cart is a lifesaver.
The gorilla cart is,
oh my god.
It's
so.
I used to do it with 2 5-gallon buckets, and when I got that gorilla cart, and this year I've got like I don't know what material it's made out of, like a composite. It's almost like a plastic, but I used it for snow removal this past winter, and that big composite material shovel, which is really light, is going to make my mulch, sand, topsoil work even easier. Because last year I was just using a regular scoop shovel, and that thing, not even a scoop shovel, like a loading shovel. The square one, a spade or whatever you want to call it. And that one took forever. But the gorilla cart does make it a breeze.
It's a lifesaver.
But Joe, if you are going to get the bulk delivered mulch, there's one important thing You have to know. And
Yep.
and Joe and I, when he sent me this, I
Oh,
said I can attest to that
it kills me to even look at this picture.
because the same thing happened to me, but there was a big difference. When it happened to me, I was okay with it because I knew I was going to be ripping out the front yard this year. Joe is not in that same
Yeah.
boat. Joe, if you're getting mulch, should you put it on concrete or grass?
Uh, Definitely not grass. So this image, it's a little deceiving, but you can see there's an image in the right hand corner there. And yeah, I told my I saw it got delivered. I saw it on our camera, and I told my wife, like, can you get out there, try get as much off the edge of the grass as you
Don't
can.
you feel helpless when you're not at home to do that? You know she
Uh,
can do it, but you just
no,
want to be there.
I know she's real, but she was really good about it. She kind of knew to do it already. So she got it out there, she moved it off, but I guess there was still enough on there where I got a nice brown spot right there. And but I'm but now that I have that water leak and that sod there's all really chopped up, I'm thinking about maybe just taking a ride down to Tuckahoe Turf Farm. Super TA, he's in the chat.
What's
I know
up,
he
Bill? I saw you come in. Better
I
late
know
than never, buddy. Better
I know
late than never.
I know he works near there, and I might just get like a couple rolls of sod and maybe just like patch those two areas.
So
And
that's the question I
you
got,
know,
Joe. So when I put 3 yards of mulch in my Bermuda sod last summer, I did it because I didn't care what happened underneath it. I knew something bad was going to happen, and sure enough, when the 3 yards of mulch was gone, I mean, it was just this big, huge brown blob of Bermuda grass. But Bermuda grass is going to bounce back so fast with the heat and the water. But that's not the case with your tall fescue, right? It's a little bit more uh, of an issue than it was for
yeah,
me and Bermuda grass.
yeah, like so, like I'm like debating whether to just like I was saying, get a roll of sod, putting it there, or just like letting it go, seeing if it'll come back a little bit. Like it's been dry here. So I think we're supposed to get some rain later in the week, but like we haven't really seen much. And I've been trying to keep it watered more than I normally would, but I'm thinking about either just painting it, sodding it, or just
Painting
letting
it? Did you just say painting it? Surely you
painting
said
it.
you said that just to irk me.
No, I'm serious. I do have some paint, and I don't know. I,
Yeah, Pat
Pat says
seems to think about, and that's what I wondered. If
yeah,
is it just
it
kind of
might be a good.
shocked?
It might be a good like video. It might be just
I wouldn't do
just like
anything just yet. I would just see what happens.
yeah, and I'm thinking about doing the same thing because I really don't want to take a 30-minute drive if I have to. Um, and obviously seeding is too late now, and I really don't want to seed in the fall, like I've been saying. Like I want to just do a pre-emergent in the fall time. So I might just say fuck it with the lawn. Just whatever happens
Dude,
happens, and just let it go.
that's part of the fun, though. I mean, people give me hell all the time because sometimes I'm just like, can't get to it. I'm gonna let it go. I know it's probably not the best thing from a scientific standpoint, but it's what I'm gonna do. And sometimes if you're making YouTube videos, you kind of need to test different things and see what's gonna happen. Hey,
Dig it up and put an irrigreen in.
you could do that. But no, I'll be interested. I'll be following along with that to see what happens because when you got Bermuda like I do, things just bounce back so freaking quickly. And I hope you get some rain because if you saw, I made a post on my community page yesterday. I just love it when a fertilizer application goes down perfectly timed. So I had no intentions of I said on last week's show it might be 2 weeks till I get a round of fertilizer down. But my little guy, he's 3 years old. He'll be 4 in July. He loves to go to Walmart and he just wants to look at the toys. I mean, he's such a funny little dude. He doesn't want to play with them, doesn't want to buy them. He doesn't whine. He just wants to look at the toys. So he said last week, he said, hey, he wanted to go look at toys at Walmart while we were waiting on his sister at something. And so I thought, well, I'm at Walmart. I might as well buy a bag of Expert Gardener Triple 10, and there's rain chances this weekend. Hopefully they'll hit. Sure enough, man, I threw that stuff down on Saturday afternoon. by midday Sunday, I checked the rain gauge and we had a half an inch of rain. Ended up getting another half inch later in the day. So I got a good solid inch of rain that wasn't just a gully washer. Had a little bit at a time to help get that stuff nice and watered into the soil. And that Bermuda has responded so freaking fast with a little bit of heat and humidity. So I know that's not the case for you tall fescue guys, but hey, I've got Bermuda, and I guess I'll brag about it every once in a while.
Yeah, you brag
Joe,
about it all you want.
Joe tells me all the time, man, I wish I'm. What do you always say? Like you wish you could have Bermuda like we do down here.
I mean, we could have Bermuda, obviously, but like it's just not the same. I know somebody that lives in my town. He was in the chat a couple weeks ago, and he has Tahoma 31, but it's just
just a short season, right?
It's just I mean, you see what they do. They overseed at the link, with ryegrass because they have to. They can't have that Bermuda out in the middle of November and December.
Did you see? Hey, Rusty, gully washer for you. I hope you need it. I mean, gully washers aren't bad if you need it. Did you see Ben the Lawn Guardian? Shout out to Ben the Lawn Guardian up in St. Louis, which is like 5.5 hours north of me, and you're talking big time transition zone where he's at. The central part of Missouri can get some pretty harsh winters. He is killing off all of his tall fescue on his side yard. He's still leaving tall fescue in a good chunk of the rest of his yard, but killing it off.
I think he's nuts.
But I'm interested to see because he says this iron cutter has been, genetically engineered. Is that the right way to put it? It's been bred. It's been developed to be able to withstand pretty harsh winters. So we'll see, because I thought that's what Tahoma 31 was all about. But he's sprigging it. So have you ever seen something be sprigged before? When I grew up on a golf course, they tried to sprig the fairways, and it didn't go over so well and ended up having to come in and roll sod down. But I'd be interested to follow that project because I don't know what his climate is like relative to your climate in Jersey. But maybe he gives you a good kind of test run as to what could happen with it.
I've thought about it in my backyard as a test.
But you have a lot of shade back there, don't you?
I mean, we get a decent amount. It's weird. I mean, we do get a decent amount of sun. I don't know. I would have to think about it. It wouldn't hurt to put a few sprigs here and there, and if it takes, it takes.
Try it. See what happens. Hey,
whatever.
Hey, Joe. How many people are just sitting on the edge of their seat? Joe's already kind of gone off on one little hot take tonight about the water company. But are you ready for your first hot take? Are you touching that microphone, Joe? Get your hands off the microphone.
I'm touching with this stupid light right here. It keeps going out on me. I don't know why.
So last night, if you were watching last week, and I asked Joe, I said, Joe, are you touching? Do you remember that from last week, Joe? I said, Joe, are you touching?
I lied.
You lied out of your freaking teeth, man, because I could hear it.
I lied out my ass on that.
Joe told me, no, I think it's a helicopter. And I was like, Joe,
it really was.
So
there really was a helicopter.
That was not,
there really was.
That was not. I knew it was your hands on it. But Joe texted me later on, maybe the next day. Joe was like, I got to keep my hands off my microphone. I was like, you dang right you do. You were touching that thing like crazy.
I know. It's a nervous tick.
It's okay, though. Hey, Joe, we're getting a good laugh at your expense, but you're not laughing about this. I'm not even going to set it up for you. Look, Joe, careful. Be careful. I'm warning you. Tiptoe. Tread lightly. Watch yourself. You never know who's watching and whose feelings are going to get hurt. But I'm staying away from this one right out the gate.
DIY lawn care. So this is my hot take tonight. I watch, I don't know, maybe 10 to 15, maybe up to 20 different lawn care channors, and
have I made it onto that list, Joe? Because I wasn't for a long time.
You're in the top 5, or maybe the top 10. No, I'm kidding. it's just like it blows my mind that we're still calling it DIY lawn care. Like I remember when I first started and I was like, hey, I'm Joe the lawnmower and this is the DIY lawn care, this is what we do, and it's like
This is
but
my regular lawnmower and my Scott's mini spreader.
but guys are out there with your Ventrax. This other person was doing a video with it's called Turf. I forget it's a top dresser spreader, which is the $8,000 machine.
Was it a kid?
No, it was a creator, a YouTuber out there.
But it wasn't a kid.
No, it wasn't a kid.
Well, they're the kid.
I don't know.
Oh, geez. Carry on.
Text me about it later. And then you have the Lindsay peat moss spreader. That's $200. And don't get me wrong, I promoted it in my past because I thought I was a great DIY lawn care YouTuber. Because once you get on YouTube, you are lawn care.
You're the man.
You are certified lawn care giver.
I gave a tip about getting a cheap rain gauge the other day, and I called it a pro amateur tip.
I'm telling you, every time I go into Home Depot and I see the rain gauge, I just think of you because of your video of like taking it out of the ground during the wintertime. And guess what? I remember watching your video about taking it out of the ground. I'm like,
I've got it on.
I'm not taking it out of the ground. And you know what happened to me? It cracked.
It froze. You thought I was full of you know what, and I wasn't. Because if you leave that thing out, one little frost or freeze, and it's going to crack, and you're going to be buying a new one. If you ask me, I haven't
bought a new one.
I don't want to pay the extra $3
bucks
for a new one each year.
And I haven't bought a new one because I don't trust the weather people. I just don't trust them.
But
that was another hot take for another day. Back to this one. Let's stop calling it DIY lawn care.
DIY? Who's DIY?
DI lawn care. Let's stop calling
Who's
it that.
DIY lawn care?
DIY. Whatever. Let's stop calling it do it yourself lawn care when we got $8,000 machines out there. Even if you can rent a machine, who the fuck's renting this big ass machine to top dress their lawn? I just like. I don't get it. I just don't like it. To me, DIY lawn care is just the basics. It's getting a Scott spreader or getting a lawn level rake from Home Depot, the big landscape rakes, and leveling your lawn, or just using good old blood, sweat, and tears and doing it yourself that way. Don't get me wrong, it makes life easier when you have these machines, but it's not realistic that someone's going to go out there or either buy an $8,000 or $30,000 machine or even rent one, because half of us don't have trucks or want to go to Home Depot and rent a truck with a trailer to tow this stuff. And it's just like,
okay, Joe, I'm going to say,
I think DIY gets thrown around very loosely, and I think it needs to stop.
Well, let me throw another viewpoint towards it. Okay.
Okay.
I don't so much blame this stuff on the creators. It's almost some of the responsibility kind of falls on the people watching the videos, because they're the ones that now have all of a sudden set these expectations of what a creator has to be using or talking about. And it's like we talked about off the top of the show in the Pre-Scalp when we were talking about how this guy was giving me lip about not being able to compete with this other big time creator. And it's like, I'm not trying to. I'm trying to show you that I am a working husband and dad, just like you are, that loves to tinker around in his lawn as a hobby. And I'm showing you how I'm doing it on a budget-friendly level. But for some reason, that's really hard to grasp for a lot of folks, because they think that you got to keep up with the Joneses, and that just because other creators are trying to turn it into full-time jobs and revenue streams and websites and fancy equipment and all that kind of stuff, that the next creator has to be doing the exact same thing. So if the people watching the videos were, and most people can, I'm going to give people the benefit of the doubt. I think sometimes it's really easy to focus on the small fraction of people who are misconstruing DIY lawn care for what it really is. But it really is just the average old Joe or Joanne with a lawnmower and a weed eater, as you want to call it, or a weed whacker and a blower. Not all this fancy, expensive, high dollar equipment to make the job really, really simple, but not favorable on the
And
wallet,
I
if you know
see,
what I mean.
yeah, and I see his name's John on White. I see $200 should still be DIY. Yeah, it is. But if you think about it this way, $200 could be your whole year's supply of fertilizer, and you're spending it on one machine. That, don't get me wrong, I paid for it. I bought a Landsea peat moss spreader, but I use it once a year.
And I've seen people throw peat moss out with nothing. Throw it out
Yeah,
on the lawn and
and
then
I
take a
kind of
regular garden rake that they already have and just move it around.
and I'll be honest, I was one of those people that watched a ton of these people and were like, "Oh, I gotta have that." I seen them advertise it every freaking minute, and like, "Oh, I gotta get one of those things." And they're actually, Landsea's actually from Jersey. They're based in Jersey, and I kind of regret the purchase. I mean, it literally sits in my shed up on my hook
I think you did
for
a
a whole
video
year.
about this at one time.
I'm never going to use peat moss again in my yard because, and if I use believe me, if you guys ever use these peat moss spreaders, when you fill these up, especially with a compost, it is hard to push. People make it look like it's easy, but it is hard to push when it's heavy. Peat moss is light, but when you put a compost or even sand in there, it's really not worth it at the end of the day. Spend your money on something else. Don't get pressured by these people with with their $200 cool season weed control.
Well,
Um
tell us in the chat. Are we way off base on this? Because Joe, I think we've got a great group of friends here that understands what we're talking about, and that's how
yeah, I see 28 people, right now live. Like,
that's.
don't be afraid to comment, guys. I mean, if you hear something that you don't agree with or agree with, let us
You're
know.
not going
I
to
mean,
hurt our feelings.
yeah,
That just furthers the
I
conversation. Last week's show, Joe, going back and
tra-
watching the
tra-
replay,
yeah,
it
Travis hurts my feelings all the time. So
yes,
don't
yes.
I'm
I'm
kidding. I'm
I'm
kidding.
an easy target. Joe's an easy target. Come after us. But last week's show was really driven by a lot of the chat. So I went back and rewatched that show, and man, it was great. It was so fun to be able to get all that engagement going. And you're not going to hurt our feelings. That's why we really wanted to start this show. If Joe hurts mine, or I hurt his, or you hurt ours, it's all good at the end of the day. But that's how Budget Lawn started in the first place, Joe, because I really got tired of watching all these people use such high dollar equipment that I'm sitting there going, never on God's green earth would I pay for that or want to pay for that or be able to afford some of this stuff. And I just had this feeling that there were a lot of other like-minded people out there like me and would see eye to eye on doing lawn care kind of the old-fashioned way with the basic tools that have been tried and true for decades upon decades now. So I think you make a good point, but I think too sometimes it's just the viewer, the consumers of the videos on YouTube have over
I mean,
exaggerated what YouTube or DIY
it's
lawn care is.
it's like you got I'm trying to be better this year. I'm trying not to go after people, and this kind of gives me my avenue to talk about just things that I see in general, and it just drives me nuts when people are promoting product after product after product after
Did
product,
you
and it's
see
like,
Pat's latest comment? Did you see Pat's latest comment?
yeah, he's right. I mean, mow it, feed it, water it. That's really, like, people have been doing that for hundreds of years and have had nice lawns. And I don't know, it shouldn't be that complicated. People, I think, make it that complicated. And I love those Scott's commercials now. I mean,
I hear the horror stories about never buy a Scott's spreader. I used my dad's Scott's Mini Edge Guard when I first got started. Guess what? I put the product in the hopper. I opened the hopper up. I started walking. The stuff flew all over the lawn. Where's a cold beer? I mean, it's that simple. Like, I didn't need
I
anything
mean,
fancy.
I think this is going to be honestly. I think this is really going to be the last year where you're going to see a lot of YouTubers promoting product. I think some of these companies are going to have to scale back their advertising. They're not going to be able to give out as much because I'm seeing some of these YouTubers that are promoting products. They're not getting a ton of views on their videos, and if I'm a company, I am not going to give product to people keep giving people product every year and not get a lot of views for it. Like is 5,000 views really worth giving somebody a couple $1,000 machine or a couple $100 worth of fertilizer every year? I really don't think so. And I think we're going to start to see
A scaling back of
a
that.
scaling back of that. And
Well,
I think that this is going to hopefully be one of those last years where we see that.
and you may be completely right, and you may be completely wrong. But
I
Joe,
could be.
what you just said, Joe, is where I placed all my bets with the branding of my channel from 2019. And when I was on the Grass Factors Thirsty Thursday show one night, I mentioned how I'm always thinking about how to be ahead and try and be ahead. And all the guys in the comments were like, "Oh, I'm still trying to figure out how he's ahead." Well, sometimes when you're ahead, the people that are so far behind can't see it. And when you're ahead, it takes time to realize it. And when I said in 2019 that I wasn't going to play that game, I knew that I would have to sit through years of other people doing it. But when that game finally starts ending and that whole world starts crumbling, I'll be sitting here going, been doing this for 5 years now, 6 years now. Am I leaving a lot on the table in the meantime? Sure, but it's not that important to me. What's more important is making the friends that I've made, like you of all people, and all the folks, and I mean that with the most sincerest amount of appreciation, Joe, and all the people in the chat tonight that come on here. This is what it's all about, just having fun, and that's what keeps me going every day, is because I don't have the stress of it being a job, if that makes sense. I don't have, it's not a job. I have a job. I don't want to stress about something else. Hey, Joe, for some people it is a job though. And folks, look, if you have soft feelings, our title tonight is It's a Community, but only if you say what everyone agrees with. I mean, that's kind of what it's turned into. We went through this on last week's show. If you didn't see my little hot take last week, go back and check it out. And I said in the description for this show tonight, if you got soft feelings, don't bring them with you, because Joe is bound to come off with a hot take that might hurt your feelings. I'm warning you. If you're soft, if you get easily offended, you might want to look away. Joe, are you ready for your second hot take?
There's a show on Thursday nights if you guys love getting critics out there, and they love telling you like it is. So, there's always another show
Joe,
for you.
that's the funny thing. I had my little squabbles with the guys over at the Grass Factor. And what most people didn't know is, of all the live streams and other shows on YouTube, they're my favorite. I mean, because they're more like me than people think they are. Yeah. And a lot of what I was doing back around Christmas time was in jest. It was all in good fun. Of course, unfortunately for some of the folks that have really soft feelings and get butthurt super easily, it didn't come across that way. But I really have a lot of respect and appreciate what those guys do over there, and just was having a little fun. Now, whether or not they believe that or their fans believe that, that's up to them. But I'll say it right now. I've always been a fan of those guys because they tell it like it is. They're not here to stroke your ego. They're not here to make you like them. You're either going to like them or you're not. So how can you disagree with that? It's just like the sports card channel that I watch. It's called Sports Card Radio. You either hate them or love them, because they're straight shooters. And that's what's fun about YouTube, when you come across the straight shooters. So, Joe, I'm going to let you shoot. Princess. Joe and I've talked about that, and I've not talked about it publicly because
it doesn't need to be.
It doesn't need to be. Yeah, I thought that could have been handled a little bit differently, and that's all I'll say about that. But
Do you want to do the? I
Yeah.
know we're getting close to the end of the night. Do you want to do the top five with five to go, or you want to do something else?
No, let's go into your next topic, okay? Because I think it jives really well with some of the conversation we've already had, just about the fact that you know, DIY lawn care has turned into you need this, you need that, when you really don't. Our friend Pat just said it. You really don't need all this stuff, but it's such a way to make a big bag. All Joe, quit touching your daggum microphone. I
I
can hear
know.
it.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna come through this camera.
I I had a brain fart there. Sorry.
Um, Thank you, George. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And George, you and I have had well, I shouldn't say
Yeah,
you and I.
me and George have had our back and forth as well.
Let me say this. We got George in here. We got George in here. Look, this is a community, as everybody wants to call it. And this community will grow and will be more fun for all of us if we all have a sense of humor and are willing to take jabs and give them. And a little drama never hurt anyone.
Never hurt. Yeah.
And George and I had our drama about a year and a half ago that certainly he had nothing to do with, that I instigated it from the very beginning. But it's I don't know. I kind of think the drama's a little fun, and I think there are other people out there that enjoy it.
I'm still waiting for that loan level break. I can't wait for that video.
I know. Joe, George, I hope you know now. There was never any hard feelings. So you keep rocking, man. You're doing a great job here in the lawn care community. But folks got to know.
Great show, by the way, community.
Joe and I may come. Joe, especially in the past, and myself, I've gotten myself dug into some deep holes. I do a lot out of it. I do a lot of it in jest, in good fun. All right, so where were we, Joe?
I think we were going to go to another topic about, but I don't know if we.
Yes, we're going. It's on a roll. I started talking about how it's turned into you need this and you need that because it's an easy way to make a bag. Okay, and if you don't know what make a bag means, it's make a big bag of cashola.
Yeah.
And Joe and I talked about this the other night, and it is just crazy that even at a discounted price, Joe, even at a discounted price, people still fall for it. It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, you're telling us to click on it at $209.99. I love when you price stuff. I love the $209.99. Just put it at freaking $210.
Look, $199 might wet people's whistle, but going from $219,
but all this stuff here, this Tenacity Sedgehammer herbicide kit with surfactant dye, cool season grass. I mean, this guy's just a joke.
You don't need that to kill weeds.
First of all, I mean, you could go to your big box store. I saw this. I sent this to Travis the other night, like you said, and I sent him a Spectracide hose end for $10 at Home Depot, because Home Depot is my store. I don't like Lowe's, but like I've used Tenacity before, and the most that I've seen with Tenacity is it just bleaches usually the weeds. It's bleaching the clover. It's not getting away the clover. It's just not like, in my opinion, Tenacity is just a waste. I don't know about the whole using it seeding thing. Everyone's like, oh, you got to use it at seeding, and this and that. And
all I've heard from people that use Tenacity is it's a joke.
I mean, I think it's a joke too. I've only seen really myself control weeds with a strong 4-way or 3-way herbicide. Like, I've never seen myself been able.
I love that, Pat. Read what Pat just said, Joe.
Yeah,
it's true. You either go to Home Depot or Lowe's, and Joe said it. You can get the hose-in Spectracide Weed Stop for Lawns Plus Crabgrass Killer. Put it on your hose, and it's going to kill weeds. You don't need everything else. I think every one of these lawn care products goes through a hype because all these companies mass email the influencers all at once, and all influencers, yay, I'll take it, free stuff, and then it's the best thing since sliced bread. And Tenacity was one of those. It's like everybody sang its praises. And then now that little honeymoon of hype, that bell curve has started to go like this, I don't hear a whole lot of people say that it's as good as everybody says. Now, if you've used Tenacity and you have real firsthand experience with it, tell us. If we're wrong, if we're way off base, tell us. I mean, I've never used it.
That's strike two, Pat.
What did Pat say? I do
That's
use
strike two. One more, you're out.
Okay, Pat, is it good? Am I wrong? Because I'm only going off hearsay. I've only heard that it sucks.
I used it last fall, and I most I seen with it was that it bleached a lot of, like, when I say bleach, it turned white, especially the clover spots. It did not get rid of the clover spots. I still had them this spring, and I had to treat them this spring with a 4-way, and then it finally got rid of it. But Fro, I don't hate Lowe's. I just prefer Home Depot over Lowe's. I just go there more, so I'm a Home Depot guy. But
hey, thanks, George.
I don't know. Yeah, thanks for the comment, George.
Let's look at this though. Merle says Spectracide hose in worked great for me, and that's the specific product I want to talk about.
But George, is it really a kicker to the Group 4 herbicides, or is it just, you're throwing it in just, and you don't like, that's why I don't like mixing products as much. I don't like if you're going to do a true test to something, I think you should just use one thing, see the results, and then in the same spot use something else rather than mix everything, because how do you really know if it's the mixture with the other Group 4 herbicides, or is it really just the Tenacity? What is it? That's why I don't like mixing things. I don't like people that's combine fertilizers in one spot. Use that just one fertilizer in that one spot, so we know that it works in that spot. Or that's, I don't know. That's just my opinion, at least.
So I want to talk about the Spectracide plus Crabgrass Killer, the hose-in sprayer, and I want to break it down based off of this whole kit. Tenacity, the Spectracide, you're good. Sedgehammer, guess what? The Spectracide plus Weed Stop for Lawns plus Crabgrass Killer has the active ingredient in it to kill nutsedge, and it works.
I mean, the blue marker, the turf dye, you can literally get it on Amazon Buy for like less than $20. First of all, it's a pain in the ass to get it off.
But pay attention a little bit more, and you'll know where you've gone. How about a surfactant? I don't know about y'all, but we wash our dishes in our household sometimes in the sink, and we use Dial dish soap, or Dawn dish soap, I should say. Dial's my bath soap. Dawn dish soap. You got some of that laying around? Rob, you just have a new baby. Congrats again, Rob, on the baby boy. Do you have some Johnson & Johnson baby shampoo? Those can both be used as a surfactant with 1 ounce per 1,000 put into your pump sprayer, and you don't have to buy the surfactant. So you can literally get an all-in-one hose in for $10 and change at Lowe's, and it's going to cover what, like 5,000 square feet, Joe, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
And it doesn't even have to be marked down. It's already $10 and change.
Yep.
Isn't that just crazy? One time I got 2 hose-in sprayers, 2 for $10, Joe. 2 for $10. Don't use it. Yes. Don't use, I've never used a dye. If you have a system and you're organized and you say, I'm going to walk in this pattern, then you're not going to miss something.
Or practice with water before you even do it, and get an idea of, your pace and things like that. But that's another topic for another day.
But look, again, there's, whether you like it or not, YouTube and what folks do that create videos and live streams like this, some of it is part of branding, whether you're a business or not. And we don't talk about these things to put these other creators down. We talk about them because it's mine and Joe's brand to do more with less. So we use other examples to show that you don't need all this. You want to kill weeds in your lawn? We've done a weed show a few weeks back. get a spray hose in sprayer, a pump sprayer for some of the concentrate, or get a ready to mix one. Go out, spray the weeds, bam, they're killed. You don't need all the bells and whistles. Okay, that's not DIY lawn care. That's
Cam
professional lawn care.
Cam commented from Elevated Lawnscapes. He said that
What's up, Cam?
he said combined, it's good combined tenacity, but inefficient solo in my experience, and I would agree. I used it solo the last 2 years in different things like I talked about, and I did not see the results that I was hoping for. So, but yeah, I mean, at the seeding, hey, it seems like a couple people said at seeding that it's really good. Hey, if that's something that you like to do, I say go for it.
Pat, good news for you. I've got the soil test kits ordered. Okay, and I can't even make a joke about it. It's that terrible. No, it's not happening. No soil test for me.
So I think we had a pretty good show, and I want to keep with the tradition with the top five.
Oh yes, Joe.
5 to go. So
okay, Joe, set that up for folks. We got quite a bit of new folks in tonight. Tell them what the 5 of 5 to go is.
If you're first time watching the last couple shows, we did a top 5 with 5 to go. I listen to a sports talk every day in Philly Sports Talk, and they do a top 5 at 5. And
no, Joe, this is an original Joe from Waterboy Productions idea.
Yeah, I stole from him. He stole from somebody else anyway. This guy, he's anyway. So the last week we talked about top 5 movies that I always watch when they're on TV. If it's like one of those movies that you see on TV, you've seen it a million times and you just want to watch it, right? So this week I got 2 different things that I thought of, but I want Travis to think what he wants me to talk about. Either top 5 things that drove your neighbors nuts or top 5 TV shows.
Top 5 things that drives your neighbors nuts.
Okay,
neighbors. That's a tongue twister.
All right. So top 5 things that drove my neighbors nuts. So
I agree with you, Bill. I agree. It's amazing.
This more pertains to like what I did growing up to annoy my neighbors, and probably what I know. I probably annoy my neighbors now as well. But so top number 5, we used to always leave the hockey net in the middle of the road when we were playing hockey, and we wouldn't move it, so the cars had to drive around it. And a couple times people would reach their hand out the window and grab the net and either take it with them down the street or knock it over. It used to drive people nuts, but street hockey was so much fun. We used to have we had guys in goalie gear and they didn't wear cups, so we try not to hit the ball there, So yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Number
4 was, so I live next to a golf course. Number 4 was tearing up the golf course. Now I have an appreciation for it now, but if you're listening and you're a golfer, cover your ears. What we used to do is we used to have putters, and we used to go up on the green, and we used to take those putters and we used to go like this and bash the green.
I would have been on a manhunt for you sons of guns.
Yeah, so
because we were the kids on the golf course that were playing, not tearing it up.
Yeah, so yeah, that was number 4. That was 4. Number 3, we used to use an air horn at the golfers. So one of the second tee box was like behind one of our friends' houses, and we used to sneak through the woods to get to the tee box, and we had an air horn, and we used to just go when the golfers used to tee off. And oh man, you should see some of these guys. One guy put a ball down,
tried to hit you probably,
and tried to hit us,
dude.
With the freaking it was bad.
We had a golden lab that used to run out. Our house was right on hole 3 green back in my hometown, all growing up. And our golden lab, we could look out the back of the house, and he would be running across the green, and old men would be swinging their golf clubs at him because he had stole their golf balls off the green.
That's pretty good.
At least it was a dog and not us.
So number 2, speaking of dogs, number 2, we used to play Ding Dong Ditch. I think everyone used to play, and we also used to play something similar. We used to play Black Lab. I don't know if you ever heard of that before. It's like so you ring the doorbell. It's really stupid. You ring the doorbell. The person answers the door. You say, "Have you seen my Black Lab?" And they go, "No." And you make them come out of their house, and they go, and you go, "Oh, there's my black lab," and you run away, and you like it's almost like ding dong ditch, but in a way, but you actually confront the person.
Oh,
I
so you're not out of there before they
Yeah,
answer
and
the door.
yeah. So we used to play both ding dong ditch and that black lab thing, and
Heck,
it's
man, you
pretty
see some of
stupid.
these stories in the news, man. You do that kind of stuff these days, you're gonna take
Now
a,
you get shot up.
you're
Yeah,
gonna get
yeah.
you're gonna get some lead to the freaking chest.
And
It's
then
ridiculous.
number one top five thing that we did to drive our neighbors nuts was we used a universal remote at nighttime, and we used to go in the windows of people's houses with the universal remote, and we would find the code to their TVs, because this is before you had streaming, and you had one remote for your TV and for cable, and we used to find the code, and we used to change the channels on people with the
Oh
universal
man.
remote. And one time, no lie, one time a lady got up and started banging her TV. She didn't know, she was freaking out.
Joe,
She
you
did
better be
not know
careful
what was
with
going
you
on.
better be careful with these because one day you may come up with something you may admit to a crime on YouTube Live.
W Yeah, true. But, yeah, I swear, kid growing up back then, it's so much different today. We had so much fun, especially coming into the summertime, playing outside every night, and just cops and robbers, you name it. Like, we just it's not like today. I wish kids were different today, and there was less video games and iPads and
Hey,
apps and games, and but,
here's something
you
cool.
know,
Not to
that
derail you
that's
here.
the
Hey,
that's the top 5 tonight.
if you have an idea for the top five with five to go, leave it in the chat, leave it in the comment section. If you like that segment, eh, we'd like to hear some of the interesting things that you might want to talk about. Now, I'll add one thing to it. It's not something I did, but the one thing that drives me most nuts, and I don't have to deal with it in my neighborhood, is when your neighbors park in front of your house
Oh, I got
and
a neighbor, right?
you
I have a neighbor right now that's parking on the side of my fucking house, and I just wanna, like, yeah.
and
You
you
know what I do? You know what I do? I run the weed whacker right along there. I just let it fly on his car.
you
I
spent
got
that much time to keep
the
up with.
power washer. I was going along that sidewalk. All the dirt and shit was going on the car. Get the fuck off
It's
my lawn.
like I've spent too much time to look at your big, humongous Dodge Ram pickup truck right in front of my house. This was at my old house. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, it was a girl that lived next to me. It was her boyfriend, and I'm serious, man. He tried to fight me one day because I told him to move his truck. It was that big of a deal, and I did it like cordially.
And
But
this and by
mm,
and by the way, this car is an old Thunderbird that this
mm,
guy has, and I don't
mm.
give a shit.
Hey,
Princess, I grew up in the 90s. I'm a 90s kid. It's still like I still feel like the 90s to today are like light years away. Like there's no comparison between the 90 years versus today. I
hey,
just
I will say this. Did you see the story? Was out of Michigan where the seventh grader was on the school bus and he noticed that the bus driver was having a medical emergency and he jumped up real fast. And he pushed the brake
you
and put it in
push the
park.
brake. I seen that. Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
you know?
It's
Do you know what? There was more to that story that Steve Hartman on CBS did an on the road with Steve Hartman there, and they found out through their questions with their interviews that he was able to see that something was going on with the bus driver because of one really important detail. What do you think that detail was?
something he saw on YouTube. I don't know.
They asked a bunch of other students that were on the bus why they didn't see something happening. And
Oh,
every
they
single one
were
of their
yeah.
responses was,
They were
I was messing with my iPods. I was on
yeah.
my phone. I was playing a game on my phone. Guess what this dad said when he was asked about it? Well, I know why my son noticed because he doesn't have a cell phone. And he was one of the only kids on the bus that was sitting there paying attention, being observant. His situational awareness was higher than that of his peers around him. And he
We
was
could do
able
a
to see that something was not right.
Yeah, we could do a whole show on just how bad social media has changed things and just things in general. I mean, my first iPod, I had a Creative. It was called. It wasn't even an iPod. My first MP3 player, and my first phone was obviously a flip phone. And I didn't even have text messaging when I first got my phone. I mean, it was
Oh, me too. You had to, I mean, I didn't have my first cell phone till I was a sophomore in college,
yeah,
and it was call. And that was back in the time where you tried to find somebody who was on the same plan as you so you
yeah,
could do plan to plan
yeah.
free calling. It didn't
Or
take up
or
minutes.
or when you had dial up and you couldn't be, you couldn't use your phone at the same time you were on the internet, you know?
Yeah, and you were waiting on that phone call from your girlfriend, or your brother was waiting on one from his girlfriend. It was like, get off the internet, man, and you weren't doing
Yeah.
anything on there. What they're like, you, MSN Messenger, I think, was huge back in the late '90s when I was a kid. But it really is amazing um,
Walkman,
what you're able
Conrad
to
says.
experience in the world around you if you're not like this.
Yep.
I mean, it's really kind of sad. I think one day humans are going to
That's
evolve,
why I'm
and
trying
our necks are
and
going to be like
and
this.
and that's a reason, and that's another reason why I'm trying not to do as much content this year. Like I'm trying to like I'm on my phone a lot and I'll watch stuff, but I'm trying not to be so much like having to record shit all the time. Like all these guys that do this, so much of this content creating and this advertising on Instagram and TikTok and shit. Like I just don't like you guys. Like you talk about you're a family person and this and that, and it's like, are you really like? I mean, it takes time to
I
do
mean,
this shit and to think
I
up this
see
shit.
I see some
Is
people.
it really going to be and I talked about this with Turf Therapy a little bit about myself and what I was doing last year when I saw him at GIE and a little bit after GIE, and he's like, look back, like, what are you gonna how are your kids gonna look at this, years from now, or like, just like the different things that you're doing now, and
You
and
can
the time that
justify it
takes
till you're
into it,
blue in the face. You can
Yeah,
justify it till you're blue in the face. But one day you'll look back and go, "Wow, what a poor decision." And that's not true for everybody, but I see some people putting together really high quality videos every 2 days they're uploading. Man, the video I did this past weekend, I literally came up with the idea, shot it in my garage, edited it, and put it on YouTube all in like 3 or 4 hours. It is such a small fraction of my day, and I do it once a week. And other than the live stream, and it's for me, it is actually fun because it's not a job. I enjoy shooting the video and editing it together because it's very low production, low maintenance, low input. But for me, it's high return because I enjoy the process and I enjoy getting to meet people and sit here with you guys once a week on a live stream and hear about lawn care. So low input, high return, and that's what makes it worthwhile for me. Because if it were too much time away from my kids and too much time spent trying to be successful on YouTube, I wouldn't do it at all. Hey
I
Joe,
had
let's
it.
go
I had a
ahead.
top. I was going to have a top 5 things that Travis has said on our live stream, but I'll maybe that'll be for another night. Because you have said some funny shit over the last
Oh, say
four.
what
What is
now?
it? I said so. I was going to have a top 5 things Travis has said,
Oh,
and and there has been some funny shit that you have said over the last
give me
14, whatever,
wait a
13
second.
weeks.
Am I gonna step into a hole if I say give me one example?
Hopefully none of your. I seen it. Maybe one of your
Yeah,
students watching
yeah. What?
earlier.
Yeah. I've told
Yeah.
them. For the folks that don't know, I teach 6th and 7th graders and some 8th through 11th graders, and they know about my YouTube channel. And I have to tell them all the time, stay off of my YouTube
No,
channel.
you
It's
know,
not
you
that we're
know.
doing anything inappropriate here, but it's adults. We're adults sitting around
Yeah.
talking about lawn care, and I don't know that we have any females in the chat tonight. We might. If you're there, thank you. You're obviously welcome, but I think it's mainly a bunch of dudes tonight. So I don't want them to see or hear or read something in the chat that is not it is not for them. Hey, I'm seeing some of George is saying that monetization, yes, definitely, but sponsorships, definitely not. Look, George's channel is blowing many channels out of the water, so I can only imagine what his monetization is like. But I would agree with that, George. Even for just the little that I'm making in monetization, it's worth it because I'm getting just a pinch to have fun as a hobby, but I'm not beholden to anyone. I don't feel responsible towards a product or a company or another corporation. I've done it one time for that silly little leaf blower and hated it.
And I
Hated
know
it.
we've gone long tonight, but like there's another thing that I thought of this week about I knew we obviously were going to talk about this community thing, and I love like there's a show that's probably going on right now, and they love doing giveaways, but it's like you guys are not paying for the giveaways. Like I hate like when these creators come off, and I've done a giveaway in my past, but like you guys are getting the product from companies to do the giveaway. You are not using your money to do the giveaways. And I just hate all this giveaway shit. You guys are just you're not spending your money on them. So don't act like you're doing such a great thing. You're just doing it because a company's giving you the product,
I mean,
or you probably wouldn't do it, you know?
I don't want to be
So,
beholden.
or you need to do it because you need people to watch your live stream or your podcast, you know?
I don't want to be beholden to those people. I mean, I'm not saying this to toot my own horn, but
That's why we're the best show. We are the best show on Tuesday night. I don't care what anybody says.
It's part of, it's part of the branding, if you want to call it that. But I get emails every day. Please, they don't say please, but we love your content. Will you partner with us and we'll sponsor you for you to do a series of videos on this product or that product? And I'm just like, delete. So if you're a lawn related company out there and you want me to use your products, just don't waste your time. Don't send me emails. I'm deleting them. I don't even read them. The minute I read the subject and it says something about a partnership, it goes in the trash. Don't bother me. And to Joe's point, I want to point this out. We do a giveaway here on the Budget Wooder Show. It's every last Tuesday of the month, and that's coming up.
Yep.
And it's not a giveaway to entice people to watch. It's just a simple way to say thank you. And the way the giveaway works, if you don't know how it works, is Joe likes to put me in pictures really hidden, like Where's Waldo? The first person to find me in the chat wins the last Tuesday of the month giveaway. And that giveaway is us paying out of our pockets a $20 gift card, e-gift card, emailed to you from Home Depot or Lowe's. Your choice. We don't care where you want it or what you get. But that's our giveaway we do once a month, last Tuesday of the month. Make sure you're tuning in on that Tuesday. Be looking for me. Joe's making them much harder. Be looking for me in a picture. First one to comment it in the chat wins a $20 gift card. And hey, Mr. P's in the house. Mr. P. Mr. P, Craig, what's up, dude? My co-worker's in the chat, and I told him, hey, if you get on the show tonight, say something in the chat. Chowder. You know, on Ace Ventura when he's like, what's the password? And he says, New England clam chowder. Is that the red or the white? I always forget that. The white? You remember that part?
Yeah.
So, what's up, Craig? Thanks for jumping in. But that is our giveaway once a month, and that's coming up. Is next week? Next week's not the last week, but the week after that, right?
Yeah, week after.
Two more weeks, and we'll be doing our giveaway. So keep the eyes peeled. Hey, Joe, we have gone well over our hour-ish tonight, which means this is going to take me a lot longer to thumb back through this whole thing. But I suppose we should begin our parting words for the evening. And if you have any last things to say, now's your chance. Speak now or forever hold.
Yeah, I just got to say, to all the haters out there, as Travis would say, you guys are all big old titty babies.
Dude, I've worried about that all week. I was like, oh my gosh, did I say that? I better not. I mean, it is sad though that we live in a world that saying things like that gives us a bit of anxiety.
That should be our thumbnail for the next show. Big old titty babies.
Have you never heard that before?
No, you have the shit that you say. Like I don't like. We don't talk like that up here.
It's growing up in the South, my man. It's growing up in the South. But I even asked Craig at work the next day. I was like, hey man, listen to what I said on the show last night. You think that's bad? And I asked my wife, you think that's bad? It just came out. You think that's bad? It's sad that you know, in just having a conversation with friends that you got to worry about those things. But I'm not worried about tonight because I think tonight was a great show, y'all.
Yeah,
We're
great comments in the chat. Keep it going, guys. Like I said, don't be afraid. Leave a comment. You know, we're all human. You know, so don't be afraid.
Yeah,
and smash that like button, please.
Like button, comment. Join us next week again every Tuesday evening, 9 o'clock Eastern Time, 8 o'clock Central. We're way longer than we usually are, but y'all been so great tonight.
Yeah,
chatting with us in the chat that really keeps it moving along nicely, and it makes it a whole hell of a lot more enjoyable for us. It makes the content, frankly, a lot easier to carry on. So thank you so much. Thank you for your time spent here. We don't take it for granted. It really does mean a lot to us. But guys, that's going to end it for this episode of the Budget Wooder Show. We appreciate you. Have a great night and a man, I was so close to nailing the landing, Joe.
Have a great
rest of the week. We'll see you soon.